Feeling a little lost with all that judging setup? Join me in a 5 episode breakdown on how to set up your judges in ZFairs. Hi, all. Welcome to episode 1. Today, we're going to discuss how to get your judges' registration set up, talk about some of the configurations in there, and then also show you what the judges are going to see on their side of ZFairs. Let's get started. My objective today is not to show you every step and how to set up judge registration. Rather, I want to point out some settings that will make judging setup easier and settings that are frequently asked about so you can better understand their function. The first place we are going to go to is our branches or the little eye. Once in here, there are several places you can go to set up registrations, like this registration setup area. But since we're primarily talking about judges, we'll go ahead and do a search on judges. Then we're going to select judge settings. If you need to set up judge registration and you have no idea what to do, I recommend going through the guided review. It will ask you a series of questions and you just hit yes or no, and depending on your answer, it will set those configurations for you. But for now, I'm just going to select judge settings. These are configuration groups that are specific for judges. Depending on the type of event you have, there may be additional or different configurations shown. I have my event set as other, so my settings will be slightly different than what you would see if you're running an NHD or an invention convention site. Also, side note, the series isn't going to go into detail about how to set up those particular judging setups, but hopefully it'll point out some things that might be helpful in general. Clicking on this first tab, All Judge Settings, I want to go over a few settings. The first configuration I want to talk about is this Allow Public Judge Registration configuration. Turn this off if you'd rather just send an invitation with a private link to specific people to register to judge, rather than sending the homepage link and allowing all or anybody that comes to your site to register as a judge. You can find registration links by clicking on the eye and then searching for registration links. You just copy and paste this registration link for judges, and you can put that in any emails with the judges and it'll put them right through to your registration for them. I am now going to scroll down to category preferences. If your event has categories, you'll probably want to ask your judges which categories they prefer. This will give them a drop down of all the categories that are entered in as part of your event, and then they can select from that drop down which categories they prefer. This feature is considered when making auto assignments for your judges, and their preferences will be respected. I'll talk more about how judge category preferences work during setup in episode 3 when we talk about making assignments for judges. The next config I want to talk about is probably the most asked about config in judging. And that is mainly because it requires some work on your end to kind of make it work for you or to be able to actually use this information. So, conflict of interest. This here only tells the judge to notify you if they have a conflict of interest. It does not ask them to list the conflict, nor does it create some kind of notification to you as the director. It's just an acknowledgement that they will notify you if there is a conflict of interest. Why we don't have something more to this? Well, mainly because there's hundreds of different conflict scenarios, including ones the judges may not realize until the day of the fair. We've considered a few additions to this feature, but for now, here are a few ways you can identify judges with conflicts. First, you can set up custom questions to determine the conflict during registration. These will show up in your reports, and you can look through them and then create tags for those judges later. Tags are not considered when making auto assignments at this time. However, the tags do show when making manual assignments. We also have fairs that sort the reports so they can quickly create an API with the judges pre assigned to entries. Then they load this into ZFairs to have the assignments show during judging. If you have questions on making tabs, looking at reports, or uploading an API, write into support@zfairs.com. Moving on, the last configuration I want to show is judges can be teachers. This allows the user to have both functions of a teacher and a judge, but only need to create one account. There will be an additional teacher icon next to the name on the people page to identify the dual role. Going quickly through the next set of config tabs, most competitions don't have judge captains. But if you do, just take note that they can be granted access to see and manage scores and awards, which could be helpful managing all the judges. I have typically seen only judge captains when using judge groups instead of individual judging, but we'll go over judge groups in episode 3 and discuss more about judge captains. This is all the custom text for all the judges, including custom questions and changing the conflict of interest text. And these are all the settings for what the judges will see when judging. The main thing I want to get into here is that when you're setting up participant registrations, you may also want to consider what you want judges to see from the participant entry. For example, you can add an area to the participants entry section to provide a description, an abstract, and even places where you can upload photos. If you don't have these things in the participant entry, then there's no worry about the judges seeing them. But if you want the abstract or a video of the entry to be viewed by the judges, then you'll need to make sure they are added in the entry first, and then also the associated configurations for judging are engaged. Now that you have your judge registration set up, I want to go over a couple of different pages specifically for judges. If you have a site that is in the basic style, you can add a home screen specifically for judges. You'll want to engage this config content show judge homepage basic style. You can edit it right from the home screen by clicking on edit and then double clicking in the judges tab. With the new style and with the basic style, you can create pages that are only available for judges. For example, if you have judges that are traveling in for your event and you want them to get information about how to get discounts for a hotel room, but it's different information on the participants' hotels, you can go to your page manager and edit who gets to see the page. Well, that's all I have for you today, but join us again next week for episode 2 on our judging series where we talk about how to set up rounds and rubrics. Bye.